So let me paint the picture for you here. I'm relatively new to Stalker, right? This game, this one in particular, hasn't been out for super long, but the series has been out for quite a while, and I have completely missed the mark on it many times. What you're seeing here is some of the first attempts of actually playing it right. In this, place here, this anomaly field as they call it, hunting for artifacts is what I was trying to do, stuff that helps the character and whatnot, and this one just happened to be a fake, completely. You're starting to see things, hallucinations, stuff jumping at you, random damage, so you have to run away, right? While I'm running away, even more hallucinations jump me, making me bleed even further without any meds or anything. I'm surviving off of canned food, people, okay? I have to keep running and keep just wolfing down whatever the hell this jelly paste food is, right? There's no telling what it is, but it's keeping me alive and I'm slowly bleeding out, okay? My only lifeline was this last canned food. I am going to die in mere seconds, okay? I have a little bit of time. So we run around in this little place that I managed to get to. There's a guy standing there, but I had to frantically loot something. Turns out he's an enemy, of course, but I did get a bandage, alright? Able to fight them off. Figure it's probably more than one guy, right? Of course, I'm bleeding the entire time on a timer here. Just barely get to this bandage in time. Alright, you would think that that would be the end of it, but of course it isn't. Terrible aim, a ton of panic is happening, and all I want to do is heal. Finally get a med kit, and everything is fine. Finally. Now, it was a very stressful couple of minutes, but I think that this is what hooked me on Stalker. That thrill of, like, you are hanging on the edge of survival, right? That is insane to me in this game. No other game can really do that to you, at least like this one can. Now, all of that was on Stalker difficulty, the normal difficulty. So the plan is to bump it up to the hardest difficulty we can run on, which is called Master, right? There's a few caveats where it's like you can't save outside of safe zones, and it's obviously really goddamn hard, and, repair costs and it costs you more and all this shit, but the whole goal was to basically try to treat this run like I'm playing something like Kingdom Come Deliverance, where you try to immerse yourself in a world like that, fully taking on everything and seeing it all, seeing the sights, smelling the smells, seeing what the people have to say. You really want to dig into a game like that, right? So I had the idea of doing that, but with Stalker, right? Essentially, the goal is to not necessarily beat the game on master difficulty, but to experience it. What is it like to be a stalker? What does it take? Okay? Now, I'm not gonna bore you with the tutorial. I'd already died twice by this point, by the way. But when you get to the first town, Zalicia, they kind of task you with some random bullshit, like go and save this guy and go and check out this other shit. When you first start this game out, it is going to be rough in actual, like, stalker to stalker fights. Stealth is your best friend, alright? While I was rolling up to save this guy, had the perfect opportunity to just take them all out, no problem. This is your best friend in the early game. In the early game, there is no job too small, too big, whatever. There is nothing that you aren't willing to go after, but you have to know your limits, okay? One thing I noticed that I caught myself doing a lot was just sticking to the main quest for a little bit until they let me out of this area so that I can go and explore more stuff and, kind of take that step from just kind of like, barely even stepping foot into the zone, dipping my toes in the water to actually being able to do something, right? Like, I don't want to just sit here and kill bandits all the time in the zone, which is what you're going to be doing in the very beginning. All these guys you see me going after, bandits. Normies, nothing special. This game does this really well with, like, the humble beginnings, You're scraping by early games so hard, like, you have to take everybody seriously. Every bandit you see is a genuine threat, even though they have the most broken weapons, literally broken, like they won't shoot very well. And the fucking aim of like, well, to be fair, on this difficulty, the aim is insane, but they just don't have the best of stuff. They're really weak. You know, you don't want to have to be fighting these guys consistently and getting nothing for it. You're just gonna start like sinking all your resources into fights that are not worth anything, really. The good thing is, though, they do have, you know, not fully broken weapons. You can sell those for a profit, get out of there, keep going on your quests. Make sure you don't carry too much stuff. I know you're going to be tempted to loot everything, but you're going to want to keep kind of a light backpack, right? Because situations like this, you go into this mission, right? This guy, he asks you, get an artifact for me in this little cave. You go in here and there's a goddamn bloodsucker in here, right? Now, normally, you know, you might be a little bit more confident in this situation, but on this difficulty, these guys mean business, as you can see from the little bit of damage I'm taking. He hits me once, damn near one-shots me, right? The main issue I had here was my gun was not in 100% like quality, right? Well, you go to talk to the guy to ask him about the artifact and everything. He has traps in the place, so you can get a free shotgun, one of these, fully repped up 100%. Do that before you come down here. It'll make your life 1,000 times easier. In this situation, it did work out, but you don't want your guns jamming on you a lot. Hence, the repair costs coming into play, they're going to be really, really pricey, okay? They're going to be the main money sink, in my opinion, other than like upgrading stuff, of course, but repair costs are insane at times, and in the early game, you cannot afford a lot of repairs and all that. So you want to make sure you either top them up as you go, make sure it's a small amount you're paying, not a huge chunk, or just use the gun until it's done, toss it. You know, you can do that, but I recommend keeping them going. And while you're doing these story missions, all these quests, hit every POI. Like right here, this is, I think they call these arch anomalies. You get arch artifacts in here or some bullshit like that, right? They're special. You want to get these things. You want to go artifact hunting constantly, in my opinion, because these things are really what's going to save your life at the end of the day. Not, you know, your coupons, your money. It's going to be artifacts, right? So these are usually number one priority. Granted, that is if you can get in there and get out of there with it. When you die in this game mode, you kind of just go back to your last save, right? And since you can't save outside of hubs, outside of like exiting to the main menu, which it's kind of cheesy, but it's there for a reason. You use it in the really, really hard sections. Other than that, it's kind of like, you know, why would you need it? But you want to be doing these things, get used to not just doing it once, but having to do it multiple times if you're in a really hard section, alright? It's just part of it. This ball here, I'm pretty sure it helps you when you get knocked down to get back up faster. It's literally just a ball, which is pretty cool. I like that about some of the artifacts in here, which is like this fucking random object, you know? It's pretty cool how like a lot of the artifacts are just random bullshit like that. Like there's a lot of style, a lot of moxie to some of the shit in here that I never knew about. Going to the actual quest, right, we're at the sphere. It wasn't too hard to get in here without anybody noticing, but actually getting inside all the way is a bit different, right? You have to go across this huge open place here, and these pipes you would think are a really safe way to do it. Well, they are if you're not like me and you're trying to pick every single fight that he comes across, because here's my problem, right, is like, in this early stage of the game, I am so desperate for gear, for money, for everything that I'm willing to take these fights. But you have to learn your limits, people. Alright, trust me when I say that, because I pushed it a little too hard a lot of the time, and I would do these fights, eventually die sometimes, and have to redo like an hour's worth of progress even more. So, if you're gonna do this, really slow it down, take your time. Like, for example, here, when I fucked up everything and didn't get the right headshot, have to reevaluate, go back to my safe spot on this roof with all the anomalies, which is crazy to say that's the safe spot, right? all these bullets really, really hurt, so you have to play cover. Get to a safe spot and just headshot everybody best you can, and then you can move on after that. It's good to have these kinds of strategies like planned out prior, just in case, but you're gonna have to be doing these kinds of things. If you have to take cover for 20 minutes to get through an encounter, I don't think anybody's gonna blame you, because on this difficulty especially, it's really annoying to get shot, does a lot of damage, but the fucking enemies can shoot through walls, man. So be wary of that shit. That's probably one of the reasons why people wouldn't try this at the end of the day, but I am just crazy enough, I guess, to try it. This place is also loaded with supplies, so after you get through everybody and get in here, loot everything, and then move on, because you'll actually come out of here pretty stacked if you do this. There's a few guys as you keep moving through the basement. You know, you just have to basically take it as slow as you can manage it, because obviously, you know, some people are just like, go, 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 and some people need to slow it down. It's like, play at your pace, alright? It's your pace, it's your setup. Just take it easy as you're doing it. In here, it doesn't help to panic, it helps to stay calm, stay steady, and just move through methodically, alright? You don't gotta go crazy and, you know, only kill everybody with pistols and only headshots. You just gotta survive, okay? That's the name of the game. Stalker is about surviving, okay? When the zone itself is there to kill you, you can just do it at any time with the emissions. Yeah, it's about who is living the longest, who walks away from the fights. I'm not gonna bore you guys with any of the actual story bits here, but on my way out, after fighting everybody and getting all this loot and everything, I'm over encumbered. I'm just trying to get as much shit as possible to sell, because I just need something to get upgrades, to get repairs going. And of course, here are a ton of rodents. Now, mutants are, I would say, not as much of a threat as stalkers, but let's be honest, a lot of deaths are gonna happen to rodents and other mutants alike, right? It's just gonna happen. Whenever it gets to the really serious guys and a bunch of them are being thrown at you, they are a problem, alright? But they don't shoot through walls, so that's why I mentioned they're probably not as bad as stalkers at times, right? But mutants, serious problem you're gonna run into. You gotta learn how to deal with them all, how to dodge them, how to get out of the way, not to throw grenades at your own feet and basically kill yourself in front of like 15 of these rats. It just takes time, okay? It's gonna happen. These things, just part of the process, alright? But after dying to those rats, those rodents, I had to do all of this again. Fought my way back in here through the story nonsense. And by the time I got back in there, it was a lot easier because I was ready for them. Obviously, you're able to make a plan after you've seen the whole place first, right? If you wanted to, you could technically do like a veteran playthrough alongside the master playthrough if you wanted to, but I only do that kind of stuff whenever it's a like permadeath kind of thing, like Doom Ultra Nightmare stuff. That's the last time I actually did that kind of practicing. In here, the stakes are high, but they're low enough where like I don't feel like I need to practice this kind of stuff, right? I just see it happen, come back in here with the knowledge of like, yeah, I need to do that. It's just a bunch of rodents, right? So you throw grenades, you throw whatever you need, get a couple shots off on them. I found with mutants, you do want to find somewhere a little bit up high, but, you know, sometimes they just completely ignore you when you do that, too. It depends on the mutant, where it is, yada yada yada. You can kind of see some of what I'm talking about, but we'll get to that, like, way later. So with all that done, you know, the mission's pretty much over. I was able to finally leave the sewers, leave the sphere, with all of my shit, able to go sell. And of course, as soon as I step outside, they're like, oh, there's an emission coming, dingus. So you have to fucking run to a shelter when this shit happens, right? Or you just will die. Energy drinks, and then run. Energy drinks and water are your best friends for stamina regen in here. So that's what I always recommend. You just go in here, you know, get everything depoted that you don't want on you, and then just sell everything else, right? For me, I went ahead and sold all of the semi-broken guns, and I kept the suit, the extra jacket, right? I was thinking about if I should sell it or not, but you kind of want to have backups. You know, you need to have a primary kit that you run when shit's getting serious. Then you gotta have something that you either walk around in and just find artifacts with or stashes with, or if things are a little bit too pricey for you to repair your normal stuff, you run this other kit. You want to have options, okay? That's what I'm trying to get at here. So, get multiple suits, get a bunch of weapons, a bunch of all this shit, and hoard it all. Mutant parts, everything, so that you can make actual money later on down the line. Right now, you're just trying to set it up for later, okay? Hope you enjoyed these humble beginnings. Right after this, we'll be starting up with artifact hunting after that first emission.